Today's first impressions video is on Fangs. It's a 4v4 arena brawler MOBA type game. It came out on November 30th and it is free to play. Now, it is worth me noting that I got the Founders Pack for covering the game, which is worth about $40 and is currently the only way to fund the game, as I'll discuss later when we go through the store, battle pass, etc. It's very obviously in early access and there's still a long way to go, a very long way to go, and the biggest issue or wall that this game is currently facing is that there aren't many players. It takes quite a long time to find a game, and sometimes when you find a game people won't ready up. Outside of that though, as always, we'll go through the settings first, then I want to take you through the inventory, the battle pass and the store. Not much point in going through career because that just literally shows you what you've done, wins, losses, etc. First things first, with the settings, I want to make it very clear I'm not a huge fan of the aesthetic. It's very confusing and not great to look at, with the fact that the background is sort of transparent and you can see through the options. It'd be nice if it was more opaque and maybe a bit better placed. Like you've got the advertisement for the 50% off sales for tournament points in the background kind of half cut out. It would be better if they raised it and lined it up with this top line here, in my opinion. This is all subjective, by the way. I just don't like the way it's placed. And maybe moved over to the right a little bit so it lines up with this line down here. Alternatively, make it its own full screen with its own little background image if you wanted to go with this sort of transparent sort of thing. It just looks messy in its current state and I'm not a fan. The options that you do get are actually quite useful though, that aside. You got language, cursor color. I really like the fact you can change the cursor color. That is a huge benefit, especially if you have colorblind issues or something like that, where seeing the cursor can sometimes be a problem. Then you got show buff, debuff and hints in general. Sound options. Honestly, I don't quite understand why they have as many sound options as they do. The in-game music for your menus and stuff when you're not inside gameplay is actually pretty quiet and not all that great. So having the choice for the different sounds, ambient, announcer and stuff in the menus at least seems a bit redundant. In the game, the sounds are a bit louder, which is nice, and there is a lot going on, so the ability to change your announcer volume down and stuff like that is really nice to have. I just feel that maybe the soundtrack could be improved a little bit. Again, completely subjective opinion there. You have got full voice options down here as well, so you can, you know, turn whichever system device on or off that you want and change whether you want party chat on or off, and if you want it on all the time, or to turn your mic to push to talk. Controls. These are possibly my biggest gripe with the game, and the main reason why I'm not enjoying it as much as I maybe should be. It goes with the style of using WASD to move, and then your mouse and other keys to do the attacks. It doesn't feel gelled. It doesn't feel very well put together as a result, and that is a very personal thing. But I hate it when top-down MOBA style games do the WASD thing, when it's tried and tested, and I've said this in many videos before, to just use the mouse to move and then like right mouse button to do your default attack, and then Q, W, E, R, T and Y to do your special moves. It just makes more sense. It's easier on the hand, it's easier for movement, it's easier to pick up, it's just better all round. It doesn't look so janky, and there are other issues with it which I'll show you when I get into a game. Your video options, again, a little bit disappointing here, I'm not gonna lie. No FPS counter at all, no way to limit it, no way to increase it, no way to set it VSync on or off, anything like that. But what you do get is you get screen mode, you've got windowed and full screen, AA, post-processing, shadow, texture, effects, RHI, which it doesn't tell you what that does or what it is, and texture streaming. It would be nice if there was tooltips here, just so that people know what it is they're messing around with, what it is that it's doing, and generally how you're going to get better performance out of your machine with that. A lot of games do have tooltips, which is really nice, so you can see what it is you're changing and how you're changing it, allowing you to learn for the future. And then your Fangs ID, which obviously I'm not going to show you here. Overall, the functionality of the options is pretty good. The aesthetics of it isn't great, and there is definitely some things that they could maybe add in the future. Your inventory is where you're going to find your heroes, artifacts, boons, mounts, and stickers. Artifacts are things that give you small passive buffs. Your boons are basically your abilities. They give you external abilities that you can use in game. There's only 14 champions in the game. There aren't that many artifacts or boons currently, and your mounts are pretty pathetic in my opinion, but they are purely cosmetic. The biggest issue I've got with this screen, again, it's an aesthetic one, but it tells you in the top right hand corner what type the champion is, right? So you've got ranged, melee, and support. Unfortunately, the colour that they've gone with is quite hard to tell in certain characters, right? If you've got a dark haired character, you're fine, but here with Kiona, for example, it's very light hair. You can't tell because of the grey. It'd be better if it was a solid or darker or much brighter colour so you could really tell what it is, or if it glowed, or just something to set it apart aesthetically. It's very difficult to tell in its current state. It'd be nice also if these actually sorted them so you could filter, right? It would be nice if these actually doubled as a filter, so you could click on range damage and you would only see the ranged characters or melee or support. Again, it's early access, and there is hopefully going to be more champions coming, and there is time for them to change that. As for the actual characters themselves, they all look pretty cool. They've got their own little backstory, and it shows you what the base health is and how difficult it is to use them, as well as a little piece of artwork to show what they look like, which is pretty cool. It looks like they're all fairly easy difficulty right now. So again, I'm hoping that more kind of come in because they're all sort of base characters at this point. Also, loading is an issue. Oh no, there's Somnia has 2-star difficulty. So there are some with difficulties in there, but for the most part, they all seem pretty bog standard. Your artifacts. Now this is possibly the most confusing part of the game that I've found thus far. You can either select them to unlock, but you need 1,000 soul cores, and you get soul cores from playing the game, right? Or you can just roll for it if you've only got 50. So it's a much lower cost, but what you're going to get is going to be random, and then you get to choose between them. Now again, there aren't that many artifacts in the game yet. Plenty of time to change, plenty of, you know, prospect for new things to come in, and I can see lots of different builds being made as a result, but at the minute it's pretty lackluster. Same is said for your boons. Now again, there's another gripe I've got with this, and it's another aesthetic gripe, but the boon images look really blurry. Like, they don't look the same quality as the rest of the game, and I think it's because they've tried to put this glow on them, and it's making them look worse, in my personal opinion, right? Like, this one looks okay, but then this one just looks really low fidelity. But yeah, basically, you can unlock these again with your soul cores, and each time you click on them, it will show you what you do. It gives you a quick explanation, but these are your active buffs that you can get in game. Like I say, your mounts are pretty pathetic at this point. I'm not going to lie. There's essentially 3 mounts that they've stretched out into 10 reskins. And a lot of them are unavailable. And I don't know whether that's because they're going to bring them in with the store, or whether they're going to bring them with events. But yeah, you literally just walk around with them. They give you a little bit of a movement speed, but they are just recolors. They don't seem to give you any other buffs than that. And you only get 1 bird, which is your starting bird. So yeah, I don't know, but mounts at the minute, there's not much point for you to spend real money on them because they don't do anything, and they're not, you know, there's nothing here that's really amazing. And then finally, you've got stickers. Now again, these are just things that you can place on the map. They've only got 4 available in game at the minute, but if you look at all, they've already put a load in. Again, I think these are probably going to come in with the store. and I'll get to the store in a second. But at the minute, they're all unavailable, and they're just stickers. They're just cosmetics. There's nothing amazing here. Okay, so shock horror, there is already a battle pass in the game, but fear not, because it does look like it is completely free to play. It doesn't look like they've got a bought option yet, so it is just something that you will get passively, which is somewhat nice. Looks like it's mainly cosmetic stuff, new skins and stuff like that. It actually gives you something for free just for playing the game, which is nice. But yeah, like, I don't know what I feel about it. It makes me a bit uneasy that they've got a battle pass in already, and it looks like you can just unlock whatever you want with the points. It doesn't seem like there's a set order you can do it in, which is a bit weird. And it runs for 3 months. Like, you've got 86 days remaining of it. So it's a 3-month battle pass as opposed to a monthly one. Again, it's one of those that you're going to have to keep an eye on for if they do add a paid feature, but it's not the best of signs. I'm not a huge fan of battle passes in general. And finally, it is worth noting that there is a store, but there isn't a store. The option for a store is there. Obviously, this is a free-to-play game, so there will be paid purchases involved. But for now, there is nothing here, which makes me a little worried, because it means that outside of the Founders Pack, there's no way for this game to make money. And if there's no way for the game to make money, it makes me a bit concerned for how they're going to continue development. There is a lot that needs doing with this game to make it better. And they've obviously got a lot of cosmetics in the game that people are probably going to want to buy, but they're not making them available just yet. It also means that the Founders Pack is kind of pointless, because as you can see, it gives you a lot of these realm gold just for getting the Founders Pack, but then nothing's in the game yet, so there's nothing for you to get with that realm gold. So it kind of makes it a little bit on the redundant side, and therefore is going to lower that purchase reason, right? You might download this to try it and say, oh, I want to get the battle pass, but I'm not getting anything for it yet. So I kind of, in a weird sort of way, hope that they do add stuff to this store fairly quickly, because an influx of cash would definitely help with this game's development to keep it going, because it is actually kind of fun. So yeah, that's pretty much the inventory, battle pass, and store. Like I said, the career just shows you your wins, losses, etc. But let's play a game and see how the game actually plays. Now we've gone through all the other options. Alright, so we're in a game. And it makes you wait for a decent amount of time before the game actually begins. Now, I understand why the game does this. It allows everybody to make sure they're in and connected, but it feels way too long, right? 80 seconds is what it gives you to start up. Now, what I can do with this is show you one of my biggest problems with the movement style that they've gone with, and that's that when you move your mouse, it moves the camera, and this is the same for if you decide to go into the settings or whatever whilst in game. Every time you move your mouse, it will move the camera, and it's awful. Keeping the camera fixed whilst I move where I want to aim would be a lot better way of doing it. Like, I'm feeling very nauseous doing this. I'm really not a fan. Overall, though, what you can tell is it's quite a pretty game. It's very bright, it's very colourful, it works, you know, works with the aesthetic. It seems like this is the only map they've got. And also the camera position seems to change depending on what side you get started on, which I'm also not a fan. I don't like the fact that I'm in the bottom here. It feels weird. It feels confined. However, once you start moving, and you're able to start moving, you will see what is good and what is bad about the game. So when you press 2 keys together to try and move in a certain way, it will sort of put you in a diagonal line. I'm going to get whomped here. And aiming is incredibly difficult. I'm just going to put that out there, because the entire camera moves when you're moving your mouse, and it's awkward. Ranged characters, however, do seem to have the upper hand here. I tried playing with a melee earlier, and I just got destroyed. I really did. it wasn't a good time. I am getting destroyed here again. So it is kind of chaos. The idea is that you've got to basically go in, kill the opposition, and then steal crystals, right? When you steal crystals, that's how you win the game. The games aren't terribly long, but they are in rounds. So it is worth bearing in mind for that. And like most MOBAs, if you are against people that have been playing for a long time, because there's only casual mode available right now, you are going to get outmatched fairly quickly, and it can make the barrier to entry seem rather daunting, which isn't ideal, right? Nobody wants to sit and play a game where they feel like they're not going to get anywhere, because people have already been playing for a few days and have tons more, right? They've got tons more stuff, they've got more builds, they've got better builds, they've got, you know, everything that you could possibly imagine, and you're sat here with basic bitch gear and nothing. I feel that the biggest problem this game has got, though, is with its movement. Trying to use WASD to sort of move around, and then, you know, using your mouse to attack, and then trying to also remember that you've got to use Shift, E, space, right mouse button, etc. It's not ideal. It would be much better, I feel, if they changed the movement entirely and went back to a more standard mouse to move and keys to do stuff, right? I would just find that a bit easier. You could still have it where left mouse button was to attack with basic, but I don't know, I just feel like it detracts from the experience. It certainly doesn't make it easier by any stretch of imagination. However, the gameplay is fun. Like, there's a lot going on. It is 4v4 chaos. Trying to stay alive is a job in itself. For sure. You will get people that push quite heavy, which is fine. But I have no idea what's going on. I genuinely have no idea what's going on. I'm getting destroyed is what's going on. Cool. So there you go. I've only got one life remaining, apparently. I didn't know that you had numerous lives, but there you go. It's because I'm the captain. Awesome. I probably shouldn't be the captain. It's not a bad game. It's certainly not terrible. I've definitely played worse. I feel a bit of love, TLC, a bit of attention here and there, bit of good gameplay, and you're on to a winner for sure, for absolute sure. I just feel like it needs a little bit more. Like, the camera is definitely a huge issue. I'm not gonna lie. The camera is the biggest problem outside of the movement. When I'm trying to look at something, or I'm trying to go in a straight line and the camera's going everywhere but where I want it to, it's not ideal, for sure. So yeah. Let me know in those comments down below what you think, guys. Let me know if you want to try it. At the end of the day, it is a free-to-play game, so you don't really lose anything by trying it and seeing what you think. Let me know how you find the aiming and stuff. Let me know whether you would prefer it to be different controls. We're going to lose this because I'm a moron. That's what's going to happen here. I think I've lost the game, but what are you going to do? I think I'm a healer and I'm trying to play as DPS. I think that's what's going wrong here. I'm a healer and I'm trying to play as DPS. But we won. There you go. We won round 1. So that is Fangs, guys. It's free to play. It's on Steam. It's in early access. Let me know what you think, and I will see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.